Welcome to the Crystal Coach Show with me, your host, Anahata, helping you live every day with clarity, guidance, and practical wisdom. Are you feeling overwhelmed, anxious, maybe disconnected? Do you ever feel like you don't know how to live a life of peace and joy? I am Anahata Roach, the Crystal Coach, and during this show, we channel divine wisdom through stories of service, spirituality, and stones for self-care. The Crystal Coach Show leaves you with a feeling of connection and the clarity it takes towards becoming the best version of yourself as you hear from thought leaders and many others to help you ignite the crystalline nature of who you really are. Stay tuned. The Crystal Coach Show starts now. Hello, greetings, and welcome to the Crystal Coach Show. I'm your host, Anahata, and I'm so delighted that you're here today with me to explore the topic of the pursuit of happiness. I've talked a lot about this over the past year and various ways and wonders, but it occurred to me that it would be easier to digest if I could put it into kind of an encapsulated way of framing it. So I looked at it from the perspective of what are the top 5 ways to pursue happiness, and did some research and kind of surveyed some other people in the mental health and wellness community. And there's some consensus around at least 5 different ways in which you can pursue happiness. I like to also align each 5 ways with the 5 bodies that we have. We have our physical body. We have our etheric body, which is the energetic blueprint of our physical body. We have an emotional body, a mental body, and a spiritual body. So, how can we address all 5 of these bodies with a recommendation for each one on how to pursue happiness? You know, the Declaration of Independence, which, is our sacred treatise here in the United States, because it was the point of our country's founding. In the very beginning, it proclaims that all citizens have an unalienable right, means undisputed right, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What's really funny as I was researching all that is I discovered that there's like a quote attributed to Benjamin Franklin, who was one of the writers and the authors of the Declaration of Independence, that said, "The government shall provide the right to pursue happiness, but it is up to the individual to catch it." So government can make it available to you, but certainly can't force you to find happiness, or if you pursue it, to actually catch it. So today is going to be an interesting day for me, and for you as well, I hope, because we're going to mash up what the top 5 recommendations from experts around the interwebs, and also the 5 bodies of the self, of the physical incantation, which also includes all of the non-physical incantations, because the soul is embodied in the physical vessel. So we are so much more than what we can see, feel, hear, taste, and touch, right? So let's get down to it. I'm going to open the lines. Emily, my producer, is going to be watching to see if there's anybody who has a question or wants to discuss what I'm talking about. We'll open the lines for that. But I'm going to, before we do that, I want to give you the outline, and then we'll start talking about each one, okay? So the outline is, in your physical body, we have a way to alleviate stress and the stuff that comes up. You know how it feels when you got just too much energy and you're overwrought, or you don't have enough sleep, or you're hungry, or uh, the things that make your body kind of go haywire, right? That's part of this, is listening to the body when it tells you, hey, I got a break. I need a break, man. I need something, I need water, or I need food, or I need sleep, or I just need to get up and move. So the recommendation, that the first the first part, I'm not ranking these by order of importance. I'm ranking these by what they align with the five bodies. Okay. So when we're talking about the physical, the hack here for happiness is to listen to the body and move. So you can either get up and walk, take a walk. That helps to let off some of that extra steam. You can do yoga, any kind of stretching, any kind of physical involvement that will get your body out of this kind of tight, wound up state. Another thing that I find that has been really very, very effective for me and some of my clients is that, you can just close your office door, or go off in the bathroom somewhere and shake, literally jump up and down and shake your body. That is so great at dispersing a lot of that energy that's been built up and built up and built up, so that you can be a little more present, and you're not necessarily all distracted by all of the stuff that's going on in your body. Now, if you're hungry or hangry or thirsty, shaking is not going to help you. But I totally understand, if you listen to your body and the body says, I need to drink water, and you drink water, you're going to feel better. Or I need food. You know what I'm saying? That the shaking is when you really have a lot of tension and stress built up, and you just literally have to get it out. So for the physical body, the way to disperse unwanted energy and get to that place where you feel peaceful and happy is movement. So the second one, and we'll come back and talk more about that. The second one is your etheric body. Now, that's your energetic blueprint of your physical form. Getting out in nature and just sitting in silence and listening to the birds, listening to the wind through the trees, or the grass, or the crickets, or we just here in the Midwest of the United States had this major cicada invasion of a couple of different decades old cicada colonies coming up, and it was quite the performance for a while. But just listening to the sounds of nature, whether if you're by a stream, a little babbling brook, the sound of the water, that's very calming. That's very peaceful, and that is what's really a balm for the soul, right? The sounds of nature, just being and absorbing the energy of nature. The third one is emotional, the emotional body. Well, the thing that is consistent over all the things that I surveyed about the emotional body is gratitude. And we've talked about this before. Have an attitude of gratitude and practice gratitude. And when you are grateful, then you kind of pay it forward in a lot of your actions. And that's another aspect of this gratitude, is being kind. You be kind to yourself because you're grateful. You be kind to others because you're still grateful. So we can talk about that later. Mental body, awareness. Awareness of when you have too much critical talk going on in your head, and taking care of that. The fifth one is spiritual. And in your spiritual body, the word is connection. And we're going to talk about how you do that. So physical is movement, etheric is nature, emotional is gratitude, and mental is awareness, and spiritual is connection. Okay. Now let's break that down. So if you have any questions or you want to continue, you want to chat or whatever, we can do that. That's what. Sorry, I didn't mean to put my hand right in front of the camera. My goodness. It's just moving a sticky note. Anyway, let's get you thinking about those 5 things, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'll start to dive into that physical aspect and what can you do to pursue happiness. Well, the first thing you have to do is get rid of unhappiness, right? Or address the things that are stressing you out, right? We'll be right back. Hi there, welcome back to the Crystal Coach Show. I'm Anahata, and I'm just delighted that you're here with me. We're talking today about the top 5 ways to pursue happiness. And they're not necessarily what you think they would be, but we've outlined 5 different ways to address these 5 different modalities of addressing the pursuit of happiness through the 5 bodies: physical, etheric, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So now that I've gone through that, I'm going to break it all down. So we're starting with the physical. Now, as I say, the physical vessel is the way in which the soul experiences this reality, and the soul interacts in this realm, in this earthly realm. And so the body is such a good teacher for us, because if we learn to listen to the body's always giving us clues about, what's going on inside, whether or not, we're hungry, or we're thirsty, or we need some sleep, or we're just totally stressed out. Sometimes we get stressed out and we don't even realize it. Until you've had like the 4th cup of coffee and you're like this with your jitters. That's a physical reaction, right? Because you felt like you needed to have 4 or 5 cups of coffee or energy drinks or whatever you're doing, and you're overstimulated, right? That's not good for pursuing happiness, right? It might be getting you through the day, but it's not long term. It's not good for the physical vessel. So the way in which you can pursue happiness in the physical is to move. So doing exercises, running, riding a bike, jumping up and down, yoga, Pilates, whatever that exercise is, that's a way to kind of release and let off steam. So if you're holding on to all of that intense energy and don't offload it, I mean, it's like having too much electricity. You're running too much electricity in your body, and you need to kind of ground it out. There's why you have to move, so you can take a walk. How many of us have been at a point of such frustration in a meeting or in an interaction with coworker or whatever, that you just literally have to say, excuse me, and you have to walk somewhere, because otherwise you're going to put your fist through somebody's mouth. At least that's how you feel, right? So getting up and walking away, and just walking away and just taking a walk around your building, walk around the floor, walk around the hall, whatever it takes to get that energy dispersed is going to help you get into a frame physically that you can feel more peaceful, you can feel present, and the negative energy that you've been building, that's been building up and holding on to, is cleared, right? So I know there's lots of ways in which people can address it from a physical standpoint, but it's so very important to pay attention to what your body is telling you. I've harped on this before. The body's intelligence is far greater than the mind. The mind, the brain has only five ways to process. That's the five senses. And the heart in the body has its own brain and has access to multi-dimensions. So the body can tell you with a far greater accuracy what really is going on inside. So learning to listen, because sometimes we just go, it's like I used to have a capacity to go all day without visiting the restroom. I just tell my body, not now, not now, not now. I'm so over that. I can't. My body says I have to go, and I have to go. And if I ignore it, I have consequences. These are the things that I mean, this is an example of how your body speaks to you. If you don't honor and acknowledge and treat something that's coming up for you, you're going to have consequences, whether that's, the holding on of stress and the cortisol that hurts the heart, or, other ways. If you get dehydrated, then you get muddle brained and you have a hard time focusing and all this other stuff. That's dehydration. The more you can drink of your water, the more hydration you can have. And I'm not talking coffee. I'm talking water, or some other kind of water-based. Not Let's not put sugar. If we can help it, let's not put sugar in the drink. Water's really the best vehicle for your body's hydration. I mean, coconut water is good. Coconut water is a really excellent hydration, and then it has some natural sugars in it that's okay. I'm talking about artificially added sugars. Yeah, so those listening to your body is key to staying ahead of the stress and the resistance to happiness and being peaceful and being present and enjoying what you're doing. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I feel like if we tie everything to our physical, our five bodies, then it's easier to remember. So the physical body is movement. Now, of course, I have a recommendation for stones or crystals that support that, right? So here we go. So you've seen me talk about these before. This is black tourmaline. Black tourmaline transmutes negativity to clear light. It is one of my go-to stones. I have it around me all the time on my person. It is so wonderful to just kind of deflect or transmute. It's like if I'm feeling that kind of overwhelming, and especially after I've gotten up and taken a walk to kind of cool down, right? Having that tourmaline speeds that process up immediately. Really does. It's awesome to work with. The other one I've talked to you about before is hematite. Hematite, I call the be here now stone. It's really to kind of pull you out of the past or projecting into the future and be here now. So the more present you can be for yourself, the more present you can be for others, and the more present you can be for happiness and joy. Joy is long-term. Happiness is circumstantial, but pursuing it and catching it are two different things. So you want to catch it, you want to have dispersing the negativity in your physical body, and you want to be present. So these are the recommendations I have if you want to work with crystals or stones. The minerals here in tourmaline, black tourmaline, and also in hematite will help you on the physical level. Okay. Now, we're going into the etheric. The etheric body, that, as I explained, is the blueprint, the energetic blueprint of our physical manifestation. So the carbon copy, if you will, of our physical vessel. And so the etheric body responds to energy. And what better way to get into a place where you can be peaceful is sitting in nature. So if you have a way that you can get to a park or a stream or a lake or the ocean, or any kind of body of water that has movement, and is so you can hear the ripples, you can hear the gurgle, you can hear birds, you can hear the bees and the other insects and the crickets and all of the things that live in the grasses and in the trees. The wind in the trees. I just love sitting near pine trees and hearing the wind just kind of go. Just is so soothing. And it is one of the things that's really like, if you surveyed all of these different experts in mental health and wellness, being in nature is one of the top 5. So that's how you can just sit there and listen and absorb the oxygen from the trees and the energy that they give off. I think I shared with you in another episode that one of the first things that ever happened to me after I was going through my awakening process was I was actually walking in to the park where I always walked every day. I took a walk with my dog and I was in the park and I happened to look at the trees and I was like, wow, the trees are more alive today. And I heard, as if they were speaking to me in my head, I heard this, no, sister, you are more alive today. And it made my heart sing. And this is what the etheric body can do. This is supportive of the etheric body, is to be in nature and to understand that the aliveness of nature is also within you. Okay. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, just however, if you have a couple of minutes, if you can just sit down and be still, you can absorb that energy and literally be happy. Just, it fills you up. It fills you up. So, of course, I have a crystal or stone recommendation for the etheric body. The etheric body has pink tourmaline. Pink tourmaline. Okay. Now, this is a kind of a gem quality pink tourmaline, and it's rare to find. There's another version of pink tourmaline called rubellite, and it's more of a rough or lesser quality pink, but it's still very pink. So you can get rubellite a lot easier than you can get pink tourmaline, but the vibration is so similar. It's just that this has more of a clarion call. The raw form is, it's the same frequency. Okay, it's the same frequency. So pink tourmaline for inner peace. Inner peace. So that, as you are sitting in nature, as you are absorbing the wonderful fresh oxygen that the trees are giving you, and really absorbing the energy of nature in the sounds and the bird calls, and that's the inner peace that helps you pursue that happiness and find it. For me, every time I find happiness when I do that, and so do my clients. So I would highly recommend you give that a try if you haven't before. Okay, now, emotional. The emotional body is gratitude. Now, we keep a lot of stuff. Emotional body is where all of the stuff happens, right? We're just like holding on to all of this anger and frustration and resentment and other awful programs like shame and guilt and just stuff that, we take on and we hold on to, and it's not okay. How can we get past all of that? How can we process that? Well, you can do the physical stuff, you can do the etheric stuff, but also with the emotional body, you can practice gratitude. Oh my goodness, I can't talk about this enough. Gratitude is a portal to joy, folks. It is a portal to joy. And the more you practice, and it's like, I'm just not talking about phoning it in. I'm like feeling what it feels like to be grateful. There's this shift in your energy, in your emotional body, when you start to feel gratitude, when you feel grateful. And so that is why it's tied to the emotional body, right? Now, how can we do this? How can we do this? How can we cultivate an attitude of gratitude? Well, you can start keeping a gratitude journal, whether you practice that in the morning or the afternoon or all throughout the day. If something happens that you feel particularly grateful for, you get a break, right? Or you have an opportunity present itself that you never would have thought would have come to you. There's gratitude in that. Don't take it for granted. Have gratitude. And the more we practice that, the more you list things, find at least 3 things every day. And you can't use the same 3 things. That's cheating. There's other things that happen in your day that you can find. And the more you practice it, the more you'll be, it's like becoming aware of, oh, yeah, hey, I made all the traffic lights, the green traffic lights, all the way to my appointment when I was running late. Wow, how cool is that? I'm so grateful. You see what I'm saying? You can find a way that is in the moment to be grateful. Okay. The more you have that gratitude, and the vibration of gratitude then opens you up to that joy and happiness that you can hold for longer than a breath. Okay. So of the top 5, all the people that were surveyed and all of my research, top 5 is gratitude. And I was like, yes, because that's what I preach. And that's in my experience and some of my clients' experience. I always suggest that gratitude and the gratitude journal be part of their processing of their emotional clearing. Okay. So I have a stone recommendation that supports not only gratitude, but the healing of the inner child. That is rhodochrosite. Now, there is another mineral called hiddenite that is really the vibration of gratitude, but I've felt called to show you rhodochrosite, which is this lovely pink, kind of lacy looking, beautiful stone. It is the inner child, the little one within us that feels afraid, feels less than, feels not good enough, just doesn't feel safe. Gratitude can help you feel safe, because once you start calling in on and recognizing all of your blessings, you recognize that, I'm safe in here. It's okay to be me. It's okay to deal with all the feels. They're not as scary as they used to be. So rhodochrosite supports your emotional body and helps you to to come to that place where you can be grateful and recognize that the gratitude is for yourself, not for others. It's for you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got 2 more bodies to explore. Come right back. Hi there. Welcome back to the Crystal Coach Show. Anahata Roach here, your Crystal Coach. We're talking about the 5 top ways to pursue happiness. And that's pursuing, that's not catching, but we are making some recommendations that can lead you to catching the happiness that you so long for in this crazy whirligig kind of world. So I realized that I had, when I was talking about the emotional body, I actually had 2, like I had 2 recommendations for my physical, but I had 2 stones to recommend for the emotional body. Now, we talked about gratitude, and that's the attitude of gratitude is really what ties into the emotional body. But another stone that is really, really good to support your emotional body, not just the gratitude, but just, whatever you're holding in order to get to gratitude that's not needed, is aquamarine. Aquamarine is this beautiful water element stone that just kind of washes away and releases all of those emotions that you really just don't need to hang on to, right? So it's a very important stone for release. And I just completely overlooked it when I went to break. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that of the 2 that I was recommending to work with on the emotional body and the pursuit of gratitude is rhodochrosite for the inner child and aquamarine for release. Now, we're getting into the mental body. All right, the mental body is all of the ways that you process your thoughts, how you perceive your reality through all of the programs or whatever that have been given to you along the way, and the behavior patterns and all of what you put your ideas into that fertile field of the universe. It's also your high connection to your higher self and the divine. So why is it in the mental body and not the spiritual body? Because the mental body is what we're going to focus on, the thoughts. Okay. So the mental body's buzzword for the pursuit of happiness is awareness. Okay. So awareness is when you can get into the habit of listening to the inner critic that is so mean and such a Debbie Downer that you just kind of look for the negative. You look for you kind of expect all the negative chatter in your mind. But guess what? That doesn't help you. That's not helping you in your pursuit of happiness, isn't it? It's not, because it's telling you that you cannot do that, or you're not going to get that promotion, or you're not going to be able to get that project done on time, or you're not, whatever, not, right? Gosh, that inner critic is so mean, always cutting you down. We don't need anybody else to abuse us. We abuse ourselves just fine. Thank you very much. So the first step with the mental body is to be aware. And you can call out that inner critic and say, I'm aware that you have just stated something negative. I am using my choice, my free will, to choose not to listen to you, but instead to listen to a positive way of thinking. Now, this is not, it's easier, much easier said than done, friends. Much easier said than done. But awareness is the first step. It's like in AA, I think they believe that that's like the first step, is to acknowledge that you have a problem, right? Acknowledge alcoholism. Well, now you can, with the mental body, you acknowledge an awareness that the inner critic is trying to pull you down. So to find that inner Helen Happy rather than Debbie Downer, let Debbie know she is doing her thing and you recognize that. But you're choosing not to listen to that negative self-talk, right? It's I don't know. It's really ingrained in a lot of us. And to shift out of a pattern like that, you just have to do it over and over and over again. You know, over and over and over again. Just repeat it, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I'm aware that you have this thought. I'm choosing not to listen. I'm aware that I'm having this thought. I'm choosing not to listen. You know, those perpetual, mean, critical, and always negative voices or voice that's in your mind telling you can't have it, or you're too stupid, or it will never happen. That's an awareness of listening for that says, yes, I don't have to. I can choose not to take that in. I don't have to have that in my mental body. I'm aware of it. It's there, but I don't choose to listen to it. Does that make sense? Okay. The other way you can deal with this awareness is by writing it down, keeping a journal. Yeah. Oh, Anahata, really? Oh. Writing it down helps to disperse what's in there. Like, so you've got negative Nancy, Debbie Downer in here talking to you. Just start writing it down. These are all of the negative things that are coming up for me right now. And I'm choosing not to listen to them. Actually writing down what's bugging you, what's nagging at you, what's telling you you're not good enough, or you're not able to do it, or you're not smart enough, or you're just never going to get there. Writing it down helps to disperse the thought. Otherwise, it's like a closed loop and you just keep hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. The way to release that is to write it down. Okay, so whether you keep a journal or not, that's up to you. But I have like a notepad that I keep. It's on the floor right now. But I just write random stuff down that I don't want to keep in my mind, or I don't want to keep in my heart. Just random stuff. And it clears space for more happiness and joy. Okay. So you can pursue happiness, but when you have a very loud Nancy negative or Debbie Downer in your mind and in your ear, it's really hard to overcome that until you become aware that it happens all the time and you start to call it out and write it down. Okay. Now, for the mental body, one crystal to work with is a mineral called danbarite. Danbarite comes in clear, and also it can have shades of pink. It's a beautiful, it's just a soft, gentle, beautiful stone of transformation and change, because it helps us listen more for messages from spirit. So the inner critic keeps telling you can't do it. The spirit understands that we have free will and will always speak to you in a soft, loving voice. This way has been made for you. You can take it or not. Always with that choice, instead of, you're so stupid. You'll never get this done. Don't even worry about it. That's just so didactic and so not happy. Okay. So a piece of danbarite, if you want to work with it, meditate with it, whatever, or just have it around, especially when you are working on that awareness journal that I talked to you about, writing it down, listening for that still small voice that always speaks with love. That's what the danbarite will help you do. The messages from spirit. Okay. Danbarite's awesome. It's a storm element stone. So it really has a lot of energy in it. It's all the other 4 elements combined. Okay. Last but not least at all is your spiritual body. That's way up there, right? What's good for the spiritual body? Because it is the closest connection to our soul, higher self, right? Connection. There's the word. Spiritual body, connection. Having connection is the best way to pursue happiness with your spiritual body and using your spiritual body. And when I say connection, I'm talking about the connection that you have with those that you love, with your friends, with your family, with connections that you make online, with connections that you make on the street, in a restaurant, whatever, with your server. So it's with yourself and with others and with family and with the divine. So this is where you really connect with your divine self. That energetic beacon of light that is just love, the vibration of love. And there's how you can connect to a happiness and a joy that you've never felt before, because you really haven't been paying attention to how to feed the spiritual body. And you feed the spiritual body with time with friends, time with loved ones, time with yourself, the care that you give to yourself, and time with the divine in prayer or meditation. Those are the ways that you can nourish your spiritual body to hold more happiness. Again, this sounds so simple, but it requires dedication and practice. As Ben Franklin said, we can give you the pursuit, but you have to catch it. But happiness is there for anyone who wants to find it and works to get it. It's an innate and unalienable right of all humans on the planet, not just in America. Okay. Last but not least, recommendation for support with the spiritual body. Amethyst. I have an amethyst cluster here in my hand. It's purple. And it's just this really beautiful vibration of divine connection. So this supports what we said was part of the spiritual body's aspect, is to connect with the divine. And amethyst helps you to do that. The divine part of yourself, the divine within you, which is your soul. So the amethyst helps that connection. And connection is all about happiness and joy. So I hope you have enjoyed this kind of summation of how one can pursue happiness and support all 5 bodies: the physical, the etheric, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. If you are drawn to work with me, I can be found at thecrystalcoach.com. And I would love to talk to you about working together. If you go online, you can book a free 20-minute exploratory session. We can just talk about whatever you need. So thecrystalcoach.com is where you can find me. You can send me an email at mycrystalcoach@gmail.com. That's all for today. Thanks for being here. See you next time on The Crystal Coach Show. Bye for now.
You have been listening to The Crystal Coach Show, helping you live every day with clarity, guidance, and practical wisdom. With me, your host, Anahata. Tune in every first and third Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com, where we channel divine wisdom through stories, spirituality, and stones for self-care. Feel connected and reside in the vibration of love on The Crystal Coach Show. For more information and to become the best version of yourself, visit thecrystalcoach.com. That's thecrystalcoach.com. See you next time.